Okay, I reckon that today will be a very simple sit. No fancy smanchy like Vaja and bell and transmission and stuff. Just let's take it back to the basic, and meditate. Yeah, let's meditate together. We've gone through quite quite a lot of materials, quite a lot of material for a lot of material over this 7 days. So it's really starting the new year with this momentum. And I guess that on the side of TC, on the side of the people who's running this program, we're learning a lot about how how diverse we can come to this point of the conversation. For many of us right now, we are um, struggling and juggling many responsibilities to make this work, whether that is your family duties, your work projects. Yeah, and we're in that period, trying to make ends meet, you know, trying to get this project off the ground running. Yeah, a lot of us also come to this point with decades of experience under our belt. Like some of that is like John was sharing his journey with the Taoist internal cultivation. Some of, we all have watched Frank's journey, Tyson's journey, Adrian's journey, Nikki's journey. So a lot of those is like something like decades on decades of experiences that we get here. But some of us have also like we in the application process, uh, there's somebody who's just entered the path 2 weeks ago, like literally just entered the path 2 weeks ago, just starting to get into meditation and all this, and we're all coming here and have this conversation. So sometimes the context for us could be very different. So today is not a transmission. I prefer to digest some stress with you. So you have your thing going on. I have my thing going on. I'm not trying to jump over the camera to kind of like be you, arrogant as you. I'm not doing that today. I'm just gonna be me and work through my stuff. And hopefully you can work through your stuff in whatever techniques or skills that you have. Yeah. And I'll do a little bit of maybe the more accessible form of meditation, which is more like guided, guiding us through certain territories. So it's just really me speaking out loud what kind of maneuvers I'm doing. And I think we can sit down for maybe an hour or maybe more. Let's see, right? Let's see. Let me make sure that the YouTube is setting up correctly. Yeah, because we got so much stress, right? Like different kind of stress. You know, you got your money stress, you got your romantic stress, you got your relational stress, or life is just stressful. You wake up and you already don't feel like moving out of bed and you're kind of slightly depressed. So different format of stress. I feel very similar like that, doing these live stream with the team, even though we do enjoy it, but it's also took a toll on, it takes energy to do, right? So really we're going through a couple maneuvers and different routings here. Yeah, let's get to it. Then we can have more conversations about, how to navigate and doing on this. So I don't think it's gonna be like any intense sit today. The intention is just to, really relax and cultivate some sort of stillness. To digest some stress, not trying to poke your view or not trying to, call you out on your blind spot or anything like that. Today, let's be nice. All right. Let's be nice to each other today. Okay. So, as often with a lot of sit, we start with the posture. Most likely I'll recommend that you do this with a sitting posture. It's more often than not easier for you to cultivate stillness when you just set an intention to allow the physical side to stop moving. But we gotta stay still in a way that is also not overstraining ourselves. So sometimes we can put ourselves into kind of like a cross leg full lotus position, like John was saying, but maybe we're not ready for that kind of posture right now. So just take a chill right now. If you're sitting, 2 feet can plant on the ground, palms stay put on your laps. And starting to notice your posture, your sense of embodiment. The butt pressed against your chair or your cushion. In my case, a sofa, and the sense of you, the sensation of being in your room, whether that room is a bedroom or that room is the sense of a kind of astral room of a Zoom, YouTube live room, right? Because I'm talking to you. And starting to be mindful to collect your sensations. So which posture will support you to do that? Most likely is that you hold your spine in an erect position to allow your shoulders to drop. Allow your jaw to relax. Allow your eyebrows, this area here, to consciously relax. The pro tip is not to close your eyes too fast, because more often than not, that could lead to a bad habit of separating your open eyes awareness and your meditative awareness. So then you kind of whiplash away there, and it will take a while for you to stabilize. We have found that in a way of warming up is a much smoother transition if you just slowly starting to take care of one part at a time. So right now we're just in a few minutes, finding the posture that works for you. We're just talking about physical posture now. Right. Maybe we are lived a life where the posture has been so conditioned to be, crouching, kind of say like this. So it does take some sort of effort to even relax it to like this. It's just a little bit, right? Then maybe with not even knowing that we do this. So to bring it back, tuck your chin a little bit, resting your tongue on top of your roof. And starting to welcome these gaps of silence. And starting to see how you are stressed. Some of you guys just finished a day's work, coming back home, all the momentum of the day, stress, pressure, all the interaction you've had. Some of y'all just beginning the day. There is that anticipation for the whole day up ahead. That also generates stress. Right? Usually the challenge with generating the stillness of mind is that we have to take account and take inventory of all these different, open-ended tap. It's draining a resource. There's still eyes open, just welcoming the experience. So once again, I'm not doing anything to you. You're doing this to yourself. This is not a transmission. This is just a very fundamental, basic, guided meditation for you to be still. Right. So posture of the body. Now let's get to the posture of, we can say, speech or your internal dialogue. Because more often than not, we have racing thoughts and mental chattering. Just notice that. Notice perhaps also the desire to shut that down. So there's one side that's just keep proliferating, keep chattering, keep monkey minding. And the other side want to clamp this down. Stop. Stop. And this create your current posture of internal dialogue, your inner speech. The speech can be all kind of stuff, right? It could be comparing your experience to the previous experience, trying to, find a familiar route towards feeling calm. It's just doing its thing, right? It could be comparing, trying to box this. What kind of technique is this? Is it Wanka? Is it body scanning? Are we scanning our thoughts? Right? It's doing all that thing. For now, just let it be. Let it do its thing. A pro tip as well on this is that, can you make the psychosomatic link in which the inner speech connect to how you feel sensorially, the somatic experience? Can you match the racing thoughts with the sense of embodiment or the lack of embodiment? Is that, oh, this is how it feels like for me to be stuck in my head. It literally feels like I'm in my head. That's what it feels like. If that's what it feels like, then let it be. Right. Now, let's use the breath as the regulation tool to, trying to harmonize things. To use it as the object of meditation. Let's keep it very simple. You can start with the sense of breathing as your body, literally doing gas exchange, inhale, exhaling. We're not expected to do any fancy advanced stuff that John was talking about in day 3. For now, let's just focus on the very external representation of the breath as inhaling the gas, exhaling the gas. Let's just focus on that for now. Eyes still open, that will be still a pro tip. Don't try to jump immediately into the kind of calmness. More often than not, you left behind some of the parts that has not been properly addressed, and later on you'll be plateau in your absorption. So don't rush. Let's take it slow. Now, if problems, chattering comes up, sucking your attention into that, just bring it back to the breath. Bring it back to a rhythm. Prioritize right now. There's a million things that you could be doing, but the priority right now is to just be still. That's the number one intention right now. Clarify that to yourself. You don't need to figure it out, your business strategy. You don't need to solve your relationship issues right now. Just be still. It's only 1 hour. So normally we go through our life by trying to go in the mode of, conceptually solving stuff. But in this mode right now, the intention is to be meditative. Just to be with your sensations, your internal dialogue, your attitude towards this moment. Just to be with your breath and to be very clear about your intention right now. All the spiritual conditioning about, getting to the next state, blah, 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 blah. That as well, just chill on that. Just be yourself right now. And be still. Be the stillest version of yourself. Now, as you're doing that with the breath, gently, softly, with each cycles of breathing in, breathing out, slowly close your eyes. So that is a smooth transition. Now, this is just finishing the warm-up portion. Once we have closed our eyes, continue to feel how the breath is regulating the tension on your body. Allowing the expanding and contracting force to help you relax a little bit more. To introduce a bit of the ease. I don't know about you, but I feel pretty good right now. Just the abundance, staying with the stress and not being stressed about it. Mm. With each breath, let it massage the different internal clusters of sensations. For me right now, that is the left hip, which usually is the most contracted place, and I'm just letting it do its thing. With the breath, I energize it. I give it loving attention. It's almost I'm flirting with my sensations. Playful, yeah. Allow the clusters to reveal bigger and bigger patterns of contractions. Maybe this cluster linked to that cluster. For me, the left hip now is linking with the left side of my neck, lower jaw. Let's be really curious about this. Let's be really attentive. Not to try to figure it out what it means or try to slap on a narrative to figure it out. No, not yet. Just be still, be observant, be attentive, be curious. Giving the loving attention. Now, if you can't do that, then you have a problem. But it means literally you can't love yourself. So let's practice loving ourselves. Find the stress spots. And pour loving attention on it with the breath. How you do that? Well, it's apply your attention to the stress spots and then observe the expanding, contracting of that, and to see and match the expanding, contracting with a sense of your breath. The inhale, exhale. Let that spot breathe itself. Now, if you say, I can't do that, I'm lost in my thoughts right now, well, most likely you're stuck in your head. So center yourself in the middle of your head, like inside the skull, and let that region breathe itself into harmony. Maybe you can't connect to any other body part right now, it's just in your head. That's fine, just explore the head. Explore the thought space. Breathe. Once again, you're doing this yourself, you're being yourself, you're taking care of yourself. I'm not transmitting anything to you right now, I'm just taking care of me. Now, if you can't reach stillness, then you have a problem. You're literally suffering right now. All right, I'm gonna shut up now. I'm gonna do my thing. You do your thing. I'm gonna run a couple of cycles of absorptions. Once I'm done with it, I want to hop out the other side. I want to bring you out. Just recollect whatever stood out for you in these cycles of absorptions. Slowly opening our eyes. Take back the space, the moment. Getting ready for discussions. So, on my side, that was 3 big cycles of absorptions. Yeah, I decided to go for 3, and it started just as when I was with you guys that, okay, the principle is very simple, right? Put a posture that you can be alert and welcome the stress spots, allowing the psychosomatic links for you to stay embodied, and then allow loving attentions, curiosity, kindness, all that good stuff to stay with those cluster sensations, and let's see what happens. So for me, those 3 cycles I traverse through. First is massive stress spots. So I was saying that it's my left side. And as I stay with it, very slowly, not very slowly, sorry, very quickly it becomes, okay, this whole region of the belly spot starting to come alive, but it comes with a lot of stress. And I see a pattern of me, usually if I don't stay lucid, it was starting to rock forward because the pressure is like something is punching me here. So even I'm starting to notice that, yeah, that explains when I sit by myself, rock forward, or when I don't do anything, I usually cross my legs. So it holds more support here. But since we are meditating and we can have the spaciousness to digest the stress, then just allowing these things to hold and very slowly allowing the resistance to be met with loving attention, with that kind of curiosity, friendliness, right? So once this thing is clearing up, it's more often than not, you would feel that as you're working on these kind of difficult sensations, the head would also going overboard. Like this center here would going overboard, trying to figure out, solve, or like conceptualize those kind of things. So it's in order to stay, apply, and sustain that attention, then the next phase is allowing this cluster of sensation map with this. So it's not like this is trying to look at this or trying to solve it, but it is staying together. You sync it up and you're starting to breathe. And as this thing is starting to make connection, you're starting to feel that the sense of embodiment is more thorough, like this sense of central channel, and these things starting to be more cohesive. So cohesion is really what we're trying to go after. I'm going to explain the cycles of absorption that I go through, and then there's also the aspect of looking all of them together, right? So that's really the starting point of entering your cycles, which is you're starting to develop this routing, starting to click, and then these things, the cluster of sensation, wherever it is. But I really think it's just massive center, because even when it's like leg or random spot, those kind of thing, is really connecting to the center of energy, the center of awareness. And I'm sure if John's here, he can make a lot more details about lower dantian, upper dantian, middle dantian, those kind of cultivation. But once you're starting to do that, now you have the ability to stay erect, while also is allowing this breathing process to self-regulate itself. Okay, so then the hindrances, or the sense of wanting to move away, being distracted, will start to be your challenge. How do you stay with those hindrances? And it's really the entrance, I would say, that for you to enter the first jhana is you must be able to apply, you know your attention, you know where the spot is, you know the object of meditation, and sustain that. Once you do that, then this kind of cluster of sensations starting to turn into piti, or this piti in Sanskrit, not piti, piti. So piti is then this kind of either that is some sort of the sense of pressing in. It doesn't bother you as much, so it's starting to slowly allowing it to become more and more peaceful. So after a while, it's like it feels pressed in, it starts slowly expanding out, and then it's starting to do this kind of representation of it, right? So it's starting to do this. Now the more center is starting to harmonize, and you go through the stabilization process. Now this is just Samantha, right? This is just very basic Samantha. Once the Samantha is accomplished, now you have an opportunity to stay curious and inquiring into your karma right now. So I got a lot of stress from doing these live streams because there is multiple identities that I have to play with in order to put on the show, right? There's the practitioner side of me that's, wanting to share the best practices. There's the teacher side of me that's, wanting to teach something about this. There's the business side of me because it's the sales process. There is also the wounded side of me because we have the aspect of us that have a chip on our shoulders, the loneliness, so on and so forth that we have feel on the path. So all of these different identities now, once the channels have gained cohesion, can start to come out and allow it to go through its own cycles all the way to it reach equanimity, right? So it's starting to move back and forth. And because it's not a transmission, so I'm very, very intentional about feeling the sense of the audience press upon me as a somatic experience, literally feeling that camera and its attentive force put on me to, appeal to you, like validate you or have some sort of blah, 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 blah. And I say, no, we're not doing that today. I'm doing my thing, you do your thing. So very intentionally, I separate that so that I can create my own container for these identities to start to do its thing. So then that's how like a lot of these identities with its own, narrative, agenda, its own sentience, starting to be able to sort itself out. Because, intellectually, we know that we're not any of those identities. We know that there is this lack of inherent self. It is more of only this fluxing, emergent self based on the conditions, right? So then I'm just allowing these different parts of myself to go through its own sensations. Allow it to express and see, express and see, and the next thing comes, next thing comes. Okay, so patterns of it was when the stress gets really high, I would literally see that in the cycle, I would let out a sigh. I don't know if the camera, the microphone actually pick up on that. Let out a sigh, there's also this rising up to the head. Feel out the space, seeing the meanings comes in, the meanings start to flux, the narrative starting to become more and more rich and complicated, and narrative, blah, 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 and staying with all that, not getting lost in thoughts, but also allowing the meandering to exhaust itself. Once that exhausts, not clinging into any of one of those, starting to let it cease, and then right back to this spot. So that's finish one absorption cycle. And I did that 3 times. Yeah, that was my experience. Okay, so I want to remove my spotlight and maybe we can talk some more about how is it for you guys. So there's a few layers to it, right? Like not only that, most likely it's quite difficult, to stay still for what that was 80 minutes, something like that. Yeah, just to stay still in that, just to establish Samantha. But once established Samantha, if you are lazy, you would not push yourself into Vipassana. You would not push yourself to inquire. You would not allow certain patterns to come up so that you can, what we mean by combust or exhausted is to stay fully absorbed into it, allowing to fully express and allowing to reach its own natural conclusion. So now you're seeing that hopefully I can share my direct experience in that way so you can see that maybe most of the time we're still trying to establish cohesion in your channel. Like you're still getting lost in thoughts, let alone like doing all these And there's many other fancy stuff that I purposely did not go into in my sit today. Like intentionally allowing the body to subside and going to some other state, entering vision space, all those things. It's irrelevant right now, which is very basic Samantha stuff. Yeah, I would say for my sit today about those cycles, we can say that there is some maps that, you know, first of all, I would say, principally speaking, if we talk about principle, direct experience come first, right? So we're not gonna let the silly mistake of mistaking the maps for the territory. So if we take direct experience, then these maps are talking about these naturally unfolding. When you apply and you sustain attention, then you traverse to these different, we can say geometry, we can say configuration of your experience that naturally allow you to, yeah, digest your stress, gain more clarity, starting to be observant of your patterns. Some tradition map that into jhanas. Some tradition maps that into different states. Some tradition put certain states into be the goal, so that you can like you gain the capacity to access certain state, and in those states you barely even have a sense of a body. So I didn't do that today. I was very conscious that I just want to work on my channel and digest my stress, not trying to go anywhere in that way, and not even intentionally flipping through jhanas. Or it's just like I was saying, it's just today we digest stress together. Sure, we can intentionally I guess scaffolding, right? Like a lot of time we need scaffold in terms of conceptual framework. So the scaffolding for the jhanas could be then, if you follow Buddha Dharma, especially if you're training in Theravada style, you have these Samantha milestone when you say like, okay, first jhana, there's certain markers, second jhana, certain markers, third jhana, certain markers, so on and so forth, and you traverse up. But why are we doing it? What was the point? My point today for me, like you guys do your thing, right? Like that was what you're saying, like not the transmission. I'm not trying to pull you guys along with me. But yeah, if it's fun for you, and just do that. But I've been saying that this is a stressful week for me, so I want to digest some stress. Yeah, because I think that sometimes we can be, unclear about what's the intention, and kind of like just waste our time doing stuff that isn't very strategic about what we're trying. Because if we're saying right now that the reason why we're stuck is because there is certain resistance, certain fears that we can deal with, then that's probably that we are not very effective or efficient enough in digesting our stress. Because even like cycling through this cohesion, there is certain choke point that will generate fear for me that I will be able to stay with it. Because this kind of like feeling pressed in, or feeling pressed in here, or feeling pressed in here, or feeling pressed in here is very challenging to stay with. Yeah, I guess there's also the athletic side of me, a Dharma athlete side of me that's want to hop jhanas and those things, and I have to express that part as well. Okay, let me switch camera, maybe more intimate in this way. because I think once we like get decent at these absorption cycles, you can troubleshoot and uh, solve a lot of problems in your sit. Because a lot of time, our problem we can't think clearly is because we're clouded by emotions. But once we can digest stress effectively, then emotion gains clarity again, and sort the solution just reveal to yourself how much you want to show up in your relationships, what you want to focus on right now, things like that. That's why I think like sometimes we have aha moment, right? Through the sits. John, would you like to comment something about like that cohesion patterns, things that I was talking about? Was that something that I reckon that you probably have a lot of experience just doing that, right? Just working the channels ups and downs, and finding the knots and the twist and all that.
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good demonstration of using the breath to bring awareness to different parts of the body. I'm trying to describe, well, maybe I'll just describe my sit. I'm at work, but I was able to just join in with you guys. But as I was breathing, I could feel just how I was sitting at work, and how even at work, sometimes I have to do a certain thing or pay attention to something, and I just feel like I hold my body a certain way. And that becomes apparent when you connect it with your breath. And if I wasn't in this environment, I could totally use that same connection to begin to just open my breath up more. Like I remember there's what is it? As we breathe in, it's not actually a breath in, like a forceful drop of the diaphragm. We're allowing the air, allowing the breath to enter, so making space for it. And with the exhale, it's not like you're forcing it out, you're following it as it goes out. So just allowing space for it to go in. And then following it as it goes out. So it's not like you are breathing, you're just watching it. And in that following, you can see what parts of it connect to different parts of your body. And in that, it's all sorts of relatedness to feelings, emotions, and things that come up. So as I sit there, things will come up as parts that are uncomfortable, or solidness, or parts where if I try to allow space, there's just no space there. And if I stay with it, it's also kind of connected to some sort of feeling that is also solidified. So to make the connection to all those different things, if that makes sense.
I guess like what you were talking about in regarding to the environment, how the environment affects you, was exactly what we was talking about in terms of like, I'm not gonna let the environment affect me today. It's like I know there is a sense of being on a live and like leading this, but I choose to like you guys stay over there. And
Yeah, I could do that work too, and then I would get ripped away.
yeah,
Oh
but
shit, I gotta do something.
it's dicey, right? Because if we do that, we must also like be aware. Otherwise, you could like into absorption that you're just out for. So there's also like this balance. There's still, of course, a healthy amount of connections to the space here that we maintain. But the question is, are we intentional about this? And can we actually execute that? Or is it actually like being completely like pressed by the environment, can't do anything about it? It's just One thing that also came up for me that I find to be a pleasant reminder was like, yeah, I guess um, the love for meditation, you know, the love for meditation is a pretty cool thing, to be able to do this. The craft of it all, right?
In my presentation a couple days ago, I was talking about intimacy. Um, and just now I was talking about allowing space for the breath to come in and, doing that with like a loving kindness of a smile, inner smile. That's kind of what I meant all by that intimacy with the breath and the process of all that happening. Yeah. I think I read in the chat somewhere had shaking and popping. Yeah, it's so much to examine. I think when it's like shaking like that, it's like just a lot there to work with. Like, and sometimes we just try straight up going into it with full relaxation. It's meaning like we just want to open the floodgates. It's a lot to deal with. So it's like surfing, find that edge. That's what the breath is for. Like, it's not like you can use that breath just to be on the edge of where it begins to shake.
Yeah, because sometimes if you go too much in the shakiness, you lose lucidity. It's like just right, just at the edge, like right before it's starting to shake. Like you dial it back a little bit. Just right. Because people can, like, number one, people can just be like, oh, if it's shaking, it's good. Like, oh, I'm releasing so much right now. But, you don't have lucidity, so the pattern doesn't actually get illuminated. So, for example, for me, there was a lot of tension on the left side. I got like clear, 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 clear. But if I try to like force it a little bit, I know like my body was starting to shake, or like it was literally starting to tilt like this, But it's just applying just the right kind of massage with the breath, like John was saying, is how do we just massage? It's like a good stretch, like just good right amount of stretch. It's almost like you are going to a sauna, you're heating it up, and you stretch just right. So it does produce like the resistance does get transmuted into bliss. But if you're going overboard with it, sure, we can feel like releasing a relief afterwards, feel tired, like we just did a workout, but it could also be overstraining. So then we lose what was the popping about.
All the things that the shaking and the popping was connected to. Also, mentally, the maneuvers are much the same. The kind of effort we put into trying to let go or examining something should be the same kind of on the edge, intimacy, loving kindness with those things that arise or what we're examining.
Yeah. I think it's also important to note that when we say loving attention here, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go there and try to soothe yourself. It's just you are curious and you stay with it. Like it's not lovey-dovey or like, oh, like this thing must feel pleasant. No, it's actually pleasant. No, it can be very uncomfortable. Plenty of the pot, like if the cycle has, the bliss starting to arise. Like at first, it's nothing's happening, right? It's just stale. Most likely, we stay with nothing's happening. We dig into that. We stay with it. At first, it could be immediately going rapturous, or it could go like immediately the stress comes in. For me today, the session start with the stress. Like my face, like twitching, all these things twitching. But if we stay with it, allowing that on to exhaust, is starting to reach a certain level of tranquility, and that tranquility can then build to equanimity later on, and then we can welcome all kinds. And it's just the vipassana have enough of the momentum to be able to see through the patterns. Yeah, so then the psychosomatic link about how your physical body is is responding, how there is an energetic layers to it, like not just the physicality side of it, but this energetic side, this etheric layer of the aliveness, and then the narratives, the stories, and all that. Like, can we find the cohesion with that? Like, it's sync into one thing. Can we find that? Most likely than not, before that happens, like we got the physical body here, and then we got the energetic side or the feeling side here, and then we got the story here. And none of them like play together. Or just like, whoa, 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 so then you stay distracted and you sit.
Yeah, sometimes even though I start with the body scanning, and during it, it doesn't even feel like a body or a thought. It's just this one thing that is awareness that is being surfed, you know. So it doesn't even feel like body. It's just you are that's stuff that arises, whatever it is. That whole geometry.
Yeah, I think I was going in and out. There was a lot of twitching, and I just felt a lot of things were coming out. And I'm sure I was getting lost at certain points, but I think I was trying to find that balance of just noticing the sensations and just being with the sensations with that loving presence too. I noticed like my immediate habit is to try to see everything and feel everything so that it's gone and just try to eliminate and just try to, delete and rearrange and heal and be perfect and like, and I would just, and it's like so subtle for me sometimes I don't notice that I'm doing it. And I was just noticing it that this time that like I can just actually, it's a whole different experience when I'm just being with the sensations, with everything that arises, just with loving, curious presence and not trying to eliminate or change or make the sensations disperse um, and refine. Yeah. And yeah, it was like a whole different experience. I felt like I was sitting in a different seat and it felt more whole, like everything was whole happening,
Yeah.
not like disconnected.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Samara, the thing you talk about, like this urge to delete things, is very, very common, right? Because some of it is true. I mean, like there is also the lessening of the, afflictions or sense of pressure. So we want more of it, but unknowingly it becomes like this tendency that then become a view of what reality should be. So in that way, then we starting to have clinging, right? So that was what we were saying about, like in terms of the why the nihilistic view would stop you from realization, because it would just go there infinitely. You're trying to delete more and more and more of it, and I think that's why like the pro tip in terms of the warm up sequence is very important, because then you're not trying to rush into trying to like delete the difficulties or even delete your environment. It's just like very slowly. I'm still here, own these things, and I'm slowly easing myself into it. The second tip that we were saying is about is more so that we have cluster of stress, whether that is sensorial or energetic, like just feel like blind, like this thing is just dark, you can't feel anything, or it's like a narrative that is very stressful. It's more so that we're not trying to go there and direct or make it disappear or make it more bombastic or things like that. It's more so that we just breathe and allow it to connect the dots and gain cohesion. Gain cohesion with, like I was saying, like the psychosomatic link, the physical sensation, the etheric energetic aliveness, and the narrative, the meaning making that we do to it. All of this starting to stack together, become one thing. What I found to be, so we say that we can use the breath to anchor that. I think it can also be helpful. This is a personal thing that I do. I'm not saying that everybody has to do this, but this is what I do in terms of gaining more anchor in terms of the maneuvers, is that the way I mark a cycle from start to finish is that I would note that this right now, this sensation is the start of a cycle. So for me, it's like I was saying, the stress in the stomach, and then I would go all the way discovering all the stuff until that sensation arises again. It's the same sensation, but it's like, oh, so what just happened in this cycle? I would go all the way from blah, 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 and then see the difference between the two cycles. Because by the time that the third cycle is starting to happen, yes, it's still a stress spot, but it's much more cloudy. The pressure has been equalized by much more, so the cycles start faster. We have more chance to deepen. The investigation becomes more meaning-based. Maybe that's just my style, where I usually go for the meaning more and like start to be more contemplative. For some other people, it may goes into more of the bliss mode, like the transmutation from stress to pity is more potent. So there's many ways that the cycles can go in. It depends on your disposition, depends on the way you are, depends on what you want. If you want to have fun, you can have fun. So there's a lot of ways that the session can unfold.
Yeah, for me, it just went everywhere. Also,
Yeah,
stress,
so it's,
pain, crying, euphoria.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we gain cohesion, right? Like, how do we gain this samantha? How do we gain stillness? Because if we set the intention to be still and we can't do it, then we say like we have a problem. But shout out to you, because I think a lot of people don't even see like, oh, I think I'm scattered. Because people will say that, oh, I'm doing nothing. I'm just allowing things to arise. Yeah, sure, the things are arising, but it's chaotic and you can't do anything about it. Like, let's not pretend that you have skill that you don't have, right? Let's not pretend that we have skill that we don't have yet. We have, like, it's come with practice, and it comes with acquisition of these skills through deliberate practice. Otherwise, what's the point of practice?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been meditating that much frequently, so or recently, I mean, and yeah, I've just like gotten back into meditating like a few weeks ago, and
it could be the rustiness of it as well.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of stress and a lot of things piled up, and I could feel it all just kind of coming out, and I wasn't trying too hard to control or, well, you know, like thoughts and stuff and desires, and like, oh, I wish it was different. Oh, I remember how it was before. Things come up, and I just see it, and it passes, and like I feel the sensation associated with it, and you know, there might be some pain at the core of it, and then the pain is seen, and it just kind of blossoms and onto the next layer if there is something underneath or whatever, something related. And yeah, there's just so much this session for some reason.
Thank you for sharing. Did you also sit, Frank? How was it for you?
No, I said, yep. Some echoes. Yeah, I started with a few cycles of whatever, and then some sensations. This first half, second half, I was just recognizing. Yeah, even when stuff comes up, I'm just staying within, recognizing almost the whole thing. Yeah. I popped up like probably like around 1 hour 5 minute mark. Yeah. Sometimes I look at the people, look at the faces. Sometimes I do my eyes open a little bit.
I want to fuck with you guys a little bit, so I know like, oh, I'm gonna take this extra long just to fuck with you guys. I could feel like after the second cycle stops, the third cycle, I could feel like, wait, are we going more? I'm like, yeah, we're going more. I'm going to the trenches, like, and I feel like some people was like, oh, no, like, yeah. I could feel it's coming. I was like, yeah, this is where I live.
I knew you were doing that. I felt that you were doing that.
It's like it could cease at that point, and then I was like, no, more, and like, whoop! And we were like, missed a beat with that. want a little bit of like just a little bit of that David Goggins kind of mentality, just a little bit. But I mean, it's also to show that I really think like meditating for long is not impressive at all. I don't think so. Yeah, like that expectation for me to say that we're done, like not yet, another cycle. It's like, you know, it's just like having this appetite for like, you know, because deep cleansing, right? Deep cleansing, like this really this sense of like I want to get out. We can really stay with it, and we thoroughly establish ourselves in this. Because I think I could have gone for more. We could have gone for more together, but I mean, we have limitation, and we also have to talk to each other. I don't know. Maybe yeah, maybe we can do some other session where it's longer, and we do multiple long sessions together, and we'll see what happens when the momentum kicks to the point that it forces you to contend with your afflictions. Yeah, so the path, right? Let's talk about the path. We have Samantha, we have Vipassana. I guess by the time that Samantha reach a certain level of maturity, that probably means that you can stay quite still. That probably means that you have some level of proficiency in entering absorptions. That probably means that you can think without being bothered by it. It probably means that you can do karmic tracing, meaning you can just be your karma and allow it to unfolding. Maybe at first it's just allow it to unfold, but then you can reverse it. You can say, like, where is this coming from? And you can do that. At first you can just like be with the flow and go this way, but you can also do this direction or this direction or this direction. So with more and more Samantha, it gains more clarity in that way. But once the Samantha reach level criticality, you can take another direction to go Vipassana, meaning whatever that is the subject is having an experience. Can that sense of subjectivity fold onto itself to recognize what it is, the nature of its own existence? Right. So then we're starting to see that, okay, when you're trying to pin that awareness onto its own phase, you can't find anything. Right. But the trick, or I guess the challenge is, can we stay absolutely still while we're doing it? Because when this sense of like revelation of, oh, you're actually not a character inside your head, more often than not, there could be a lot of release or relieving of that, and immediately we'll start to fawn. That reaction. Or before we do that, when we ask that question, we're like, oh no, if I ask this question, I'm going to die. Immediately a flight response, so you're trying to yank yourself out of it. Or when you're still and you're trying to like inquire in that direction, it could immediately lose the Samantha. So basic training, right? Samantha Vipassana, to be the two legs that help you enter these gates of realization. And I'll venture to say that with decent amount of Samantha, the state of I amness is not that difficult. It's really not that difficult if you know what you're doing. What that probably means is that you have an ongoing, uninterrupted sense of being. That's just what it means, really. Because if you see right now, like, right, I have an intention to be myself for 1 hour. I can't do that because I constantly get distracted. Well, what would happen if I actually do that? Then Sarah's like, okay, now I have some sort of fitness to be able to be myself, right? Let alone like, what is the nature of being? None of that yet. Just being yourself. Just having uninterrupted sense of ongoing being. Once you do that, then you're starting to see that, okay, this sense of being, it will transform itself from one character to the next character to the next character. And then this continuum, right? So with that continuum now, you can inquire which character is the main one. Of course, there is still a main character that we can say that, okay, there's still a resting spot that your personality structure falls into that. You still most likely have, if people were to describe you, maybe they would still say like there are certain characteristics that can ascribe to you. Like they say maybe you are a very peaceful person, a very curious person, or you are kind of shy or whatever, right? So there's still a structure. We're not trying to annihilate the whole thing. That's very important because sometimes people get lost in the sauce of seeing that, okay, if I'm not none of these characters, then that must be that nothingness that is like completely flexible. No, you're not completely flexible. You still have a central character. Your decisions to be habitually a certain personality still matters. They're still compounding to hold and sustain that characteristic. Right. So even from that compounding, now we say that, okay, you can be yourself better. Now you have a decent chance of individuation. Once you're starting to do this individuation, that means you're starting to take care of yourself, starting to, like gain order and personal meaning and structure around yourself. And as you integrate this I amness, most likely you will have a much easier time to feel passionate, to feel clear, to feel motivated, to feel destined even to do something, to make something happen. Once you're starting to do all these things, and you're still interested, most likely now you will start to really inquire about what is this I amness. So in one of the conversations between Albert and Frank, I think Albert says something like 99 or 95% of the materials in terms of spirituality online is about I amness. It's just about state of being, present moment, Eckhart Tolle, a lot of this, right? Most people don't want anything to do with anatta because it's kind of useless. You can't easily, flip this sense of liberation into any meaningful thing. You don't even want it. Most people don't come near it, right? So, yeah, maybe it's more relevant to even talk about I amness before we talk about anatta. You think so, Frank? You think like maybe it's actually much more relevant?
Yeah, I think the way we were doing it before, like, let's do I am this, stabilize I am this, let the presence, or I don't even know. Like, I didn't think of I am this as being. So it's somewhere like in the edge of being in presence. I feel like, yeah, because the sense of I amness, there's a sense of spaciousness, a sense of unchanging quality to it. But then, of course, it's for me, it's seeing that, but then not realizing that is also empty. So there's a certain kind of a clinging. So of course, there's still a being there that's trying to cling on to the presence. Yeah, that's how I understand I amness.
Yeah, it does brings a lot of like good feeling qualities to it, right? It feels like you feel very creative, you feel very energized, you feel very liberating as a feeling. You feel really good to be able to like lock in that being and then just say cohesive.
Yeah,
and that being can start to expand, and now you can feel like you're becoming more and more alive. We just gotta look out for like certain common traps like solipsism or spiritualist. Just look out for certain traps, but overall I think it's a decent goal to strive for before you even come near to anatta. Yeah, because I mean, shout out to ATR, right? They have I think they have quite a relevant map and helpful for a lot of people. The way they map it out is that first you strive to enter this recognition of there's this ongoing I amness, and as this experience dawns, now you examine even the ground of reality. But that's probably after the I amness has stabilized for you. Where is this all happening, right? What is it that is aware? Things like that. So you're starting to go into the more of the illumination side of it, like how cognizance even arise in the first place. Is it coming from a source? Is it coming from a character? Is it coming from a cloud of sensations? Where is it coming from? Is it going here and the awareness is aware of these things? So this is central. This is the first course. It's like, is it God, like Godhead in this way? Right. So once we start to do that, now we contemplate on non-duality. We're starting to get into non-duality territory. But even in the non-dual territory, we can have all sort of trappings in that, right? We can reify the cessation of the awareness to be the goal. So then now we got hooked into like just trying to see. Or we're trying to like, say that there is one state that is completely unbothered, untethered by this limitation of incarnation, and we need to strive there. So I think this is ATR criticism about a lot of Vedanta teachers like Ramana. I personally don't have a dog in this fight. They can say whatever. I don't really care. But they say some controversial stuff like Ramana Maharshi hasn't realized anatta, or things like that. And he's like stuck in this mirror of awareness kind of thing, which I think a lot of times is more of the problem of the pedagogy of ancient India or pre-modern India. It's just not very sophisticated. And then you translate that into English, maybe a lot of it just, not enough vocabulary to describe exactly what are you talking about, Ramana. But that doesn't really matter, right? It's back to what are you experiencing right now? Are you able to be cohesive in your character, in your sensations? And then do you see that there is a beyond? And then do you see that from that beyond, it loops back into the within? So then you're starting to be able to understand what Frank's talking about in terms of presence and being. And you must do this, all of this, while living a functional adult life. Meaning taking care of your bills, taking care of your meaning at work, integrating with society, managing your relationships.
Yeah, like I think Michael Test's meditations is all about I amness. If you want to stabilize I amness, you just do some Michael Test guided meditations. Generative nature of being. What do you mean by that?
I guess like I related to, I took this course like a while ago, and it just like I tapped into this like state, I guess. I don't know if it's a state, but realization that, because like, and I had that during the session today where like I'm operating on all of these concepts and frames and goals, based on, playing and grasping and whatever. And then I just like popped out of that and I realized like, I'm kind of trying to squeeze satisfaction, fulfillment, joy, whatever out of something instead of just generating joy, generating being. Not even that I need to even do it. It's that I already am generating. I don't need to squeeze something out of something else.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the entrance to I amness, or through that recognition, you recognize awareness. Because then you realize you don't need to generate anything, everything arises and sees on its own. There's a certain sense of all pervasiveness that's aware. Yeah.
Mhm. So that would be I amness?
Yeah, I wouldn't try to categorize it too much, but I would say, very simple terms, I amness is just finding awareness, finding that all pervasive awareness.
Finding the being, yeah.
Finding the there's categories get a little tricky sometimes to define. Yeah, because in our model, being in presence is so the vast spacious awareness, kind of, yeah, all pervasive presence.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think I am this the way, at least with the way ATR talks about it. I think it's just finding presence, actually.
Right.
Yeah. And then non-duality will be seeing that presence is inseparable from being.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So most people who got on a spiritual path are just looking for presence, I think. Or yeah, that's why I say all teachings in the marketplace stops at presence.
Right. Trying to find the present moment, trying to
Yeah.
abide in the present moment,
Yeah.
trying to stay as long as you can.
Yeah. Trying to stabilize it. Or like sitting there and letting whatever comes up dissolve or integrate into presence. But if there's no insight of how, yeah, like if there's no insight into, say, the middle way, or how you don't want to like try to like annihilate a being from presence, neither do you want to keep like, oh, I just want to stay in presence, just want to expand.
Yeah.
Without seeing that tendency, then there's not going to be a further development, because then I see so many people, they spend years and years just try to stabilize presence. First of all, you can't really stabilize presence.
I think it's like we were saying about it's very common that the traps is that they try to skip or they try to annihilate the being so they get to the present.
Yeah. Or
And once they make that mistake, then their practice is flawed.
yeah.
You can't stabilize presence. You can't
Yeah.
allow the natural, arising of all the different beings to just be itself.
Yeah.
And then you categorize like these are bad beings. This is like being angry, being sad, being petty, being not spiritual, whatever that means. And this side is the being that is good, that is like own a good characteristic, blah, 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 blah. And the being that's neutral, we don't even pay attention to it. So we just skip it. So then
Mm.
like we got these different baskets, and then we're trying to like throw this away and trying to hold on to this. And while this is happening, we have no awareness of it. And on the while, we're trying to go beyond to skip on this, just go into the beyond, impersonal.
Yeah, I have a tendency to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just very natural kind of skipping, because like even the way meditation is taught, right? Like immediately close your eye and like go there, go find the present. Where is it? Like you mean like not being yourself right now and just be this and just allow the being to reveal itself that is becoming different beings all the time. And there's could be like a stack of beings stacked together to form this meta being, and this meta being with this meta being with this meta beings. And so if we can just be a little bit more patient and generous with our time and attentive to what's going on, a lot of it could be easier. But a lot of times, because we're stressed and are suffering, we try to skip steps. So end up hurting us in the long run.
But the longer you stay, then a lot of things can be integrated. Yeah, a lot of people just exit after they got what they think they wanted, or they couldn't find what they thought they could find.
Yeah, we can be a little bit egotistical about this, saying this, but like to us, that kind of mistake makes you forever stuck as a beginner. And you barely started the path, and you already saying like calling it quit. It can be quite concerning. It's a question, how to bring presence or awareness to daily life was the question for me for a while, how to merge or split. I think it's based on there's one question above is I had micro moments where it felt like I am looking at the eye and noticed that shortly after that, my attention splits and fear comes up. I've been resisting this fear for a long time. It became like a habit. Yeah, I think this is very, very common. Is that this kind of initial entrance into the Vipassana side, into the observing the split side of the practice, that the direction is can you stay with and ask that split until it ceases? But then a lot of people fear intimacy. What can come up when you really be yourself, when you allow the cohesive of the different parts of yourself to just stay there. It requires not just the courage to face yourself, it requires also the diligence of like distracted back. It requires the generosity, like why this matters, even when like you feel like you don't have the time for it, you still have to set out the time to practice, because it probably don't happen immediately. It requires a lot of things to break through that. barrier. And once you break through that barrier, like you were saying, it's a whole different thing to be able to do that, by yourself, favorable condition, nobody's looking, you have a lot of certainty around your environment versus like doing it in daily life and still like not succumbing to the split, because immediately the moment you open the doors, you're engaging with people again, there's always this pressure. And let alone like doing that on a live stream, like have all the people watch you and you're aware that this is going to be recorded and you blah, 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 all those things. Not to flex a bit, but I did work my ass off to take here. So I want to flex a little bit about the gains that we experienced through the boot camps, because this is the 4th boot camp I completed in a row. You think that doesn't stack up in some sort of fitness gains? Come on, man. There's a question on live chat on YouTube. Often during a longer meditation, I experience strong pain at the back of my head. Usually, when I reach that point, it forces me to break out of meditation for a bit, or at least from not moving. Anyone else experience it? And do you know why it happens? Well, I think there could be a lot of ways that we can talk about it, right? But I think the intention to not move, it's okay to move. Like it's okay to fail in that way, but we can learn from that point of failure. Like we hold that intention, and then we start to break apart. So when it's breaking apart, why did that happen? We can see that, okay, maybe the stress on this was building up that we are not even aware of, right? Because like the commenters say that during longer meditation, it shows up. Why is longer meditation usually shows up? Because you must be able to endure more, right? It's longer, you endure more. We don't really have that longer meditation in CC. I would say that 90 minutes is usually the time, but the silent portion is usually 45 minutes of that. The other 45 minutes is the opening speech, the warm-up, and the closing speech to close the session for you. So really the silent portion just 45 minutes. We just sat for longer than that. And usually when you just left with feeling yourself, pain would comes up. And we must be attentive enough to notice how the pain even arises. Because there was a lot of stress that arises for me, like, because I'm also fasting. So there's like this like stomach and like this, all these things, and it pop in that. If we can allow those tiny little details to be thoroughly observed, we can notice the pattern. Then we can match that pattern of somatic sensation to the narratives that we make meaning of it. Then we can have a working cohesive model. Right, but it's probably going to take quite a bit of time, and I can't specifically tell you why that happens. It can be like, just the way you hold your posture that leads to like a breaking point in here. It could have like also the somatic, sorry, not somatic. It could also have the meaning to it, meaning that could be some sort of emotional repression, sort of emotions you're not feeling so that it doesn't pass through, all those things. It could be many, many things to it. That's why like we need to actually sit together and discuss these things through over time. Otherwise, like, I don't know you. Okay, so we are at the really last, pretty much 20 minutes of this 7 days live stream show. Right, why is it not showing gallery? Sorry, on YouTube. I just want to ask a little bit about like the check-in, about what type of live content you guys are looking forward to, because I think we are just getting started, and I don't know, I think Frank, you're also enjoying doing live. I'm definitely enjoying doing these lives. It's challenging, but it's worth it. So yeah, what kind of content you guys enjoy from us? We have a certain options. Number one, technique breakdowns, how to meditate, how to sit, like today, topic presentation, like masculinity, I amness, modern challenge, blah 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 blah. Stories from experienced practitioners, their triumphs and challenge, like the thing with Nikki, with John, and all these cases. Direct one-on-one Q&A coaching type, like we just did with Samar or whoever is showing up, and we can, have a conversation with them. Or is it about review and our thoughts on different teachings, different books, different materials? What do you guys want? What sounds good for you guys? Everything. Okay. All right, gonna take a while before we have enough resource, to do everything. But yeah. But yeah, it's been a hell of a live show. Um, Short videos on different topics too. Yeah, we also are intending to do shorts. Probably I've gotta like warm up my chops on how to script things and do videos, but we can do that definitely. With that being said, I know that some of you guys are making your way here. Alex is going to join HC. Alex is here. Ripan is coming. His way is coming in. Teachers, I know that you have a business going on, so maybe the most likely options right now is to take care of that. You have the responsibility. Samar, you mentioned that it does feel like resonate and is match well with what you're going through, but we still got to go through what we got to go through, right? To stabilize our life, make some merits, have some time, and all these things. No need to rush on that side. Yeah, so I really appreciate a lot of you guys showing up and sharing your practice with us. Is right now is this thing I guess is just popular enough that we don't seem that crazy anymore, which is a great thing because I remember it used to be considered quite crazy, but I guess you know we're on the fringe, and that's fine. But I think we're making our way to more of the popular mainstream because the popular right now is maybe curious about I amness, this present moment thing seem very mysterious, or like this kind of breathing that gain clarity, meditation to improve your productivity and all these things. And we look forward to meet more of that edge, allow ourselves to be able to meet more people, talk to a broader audience, not just talk about what we know, but also talk about what you guys want to know about, and we can learn about that with you guys. In regarding to the bootcamp right now, this little sit, this is not a transmission like I was saying, so it can be extra challenging because you were just sitting with yourself. I reckon that if you want to contrast between the two, you can sit with this one or go back to the public practice week where we intentionally connect to you yogically and see the difference. You can see the difference. Most likely, the one that we were directly connecting with you would be a little bit smoother, I would venture to say, because it requires a certain level of flexibility of presence and being in order to like confidently say that, okay, I am transmitting and like I am not transmitting. So you can see for yourself what the difference. All the meditation within CC in the bootcamp would be transmission based. That means you have a spotter. That means you have a boost from the other side that helps you to gain absorption capacity faster. But today is a demonstration of when you have no spotter, what kind of technique and what kind of absorption can you enter, right? I'm looking forward to doing the bootcamp. Today is pretty much the last day for the application. Somebody on the fence, well, we have about 24 hours left to make some decisions. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And Frank, you want to say some concluding words? This
Yeah,
7 days
thanks
things?
everyone for coming. Yeah, thanks for everyone for coming. Hope everyone signs up, but I don't. That's not gonna happen. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's been fun.
it's been
Yeah,
fun.
especially like hearing the presentations. Oh, those are
Yes,
really
sir.
good. Wow, do you see?
The
Samar's
doodling.
doodle? Oh, they're really good. Yeah, we should save those.
All right.
Post
Yeah,
on
let me download it.
our
I'll post on my
Nice.
I'll post on our CC Insta. Thank you, Samar. I appreciate that. Yeah,
Yeah, you've been practicing. I remember you sending me some of your drawings before you got better. I think. They don't like the Tyson. Oh, no eraser. That's nice.
nice. One shot. Okay, thank you guys so much. We're gonna take some break and yeah. 2 weeks from now, not even 2 weeks, 10 days from now, exactly 10 days from now, the bootcamp starts. And we look forward to do this. There is also more live materials coming soon. I will get in touch with some of the emails that you guys have share interest, or also we're going to prepare that for the final week of January. So a lot of shows coming in, and we have grown enough that we have enough resource to do these live things. So thanks to you guys for the interest, and we are quite excited to continue growing with you guys. So thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Con. Thank you, all the mentors and everybody.
See you around. Wait, who's the host? Oh, you're the host, Frank.
All right, okay, I can turn it off.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Please
right,
turn it
all
off.
right. See you all.
All right,
Bye.
I'll claim back the host and all right, bye bye guys.
All right.
Take care.